Today's profile is on a person by the name of James Warner. It's a very interesting profile, so listen attentively. James Warner was born in 1810 or 1811 to a woman named Francie or Frances. She was owned by James McCrae, a cabinet maker from Pennsylvania, who lived in Natchez, Mississippi. Unlike his older siblings, Robert and Kitty, whom McCrae probably fathered, Warner was clearly not of mixed race. That's a key item. When McCrae died in 1813, his will was manumitted to Frankie, Robert, and Kitty. Understand, church, that means that Warner became the slave of his brothers and sisters. McCrae meant this condition to be permanent. In other words, he wanted Warner to be the permanent slave of his brothers and sisters. He stipulated that Warner and his progeny were to be held as slaves during all and each of their lives. That means that if Warner had children, they were going to be the slaves of his brothers and sisters. Very interesting. When he became old enough to be aware of the difference between his status and that of Robert and Kitty, Warner determined to seek his freedom. He distanced himself from African Americans, both free and enslaved, by claiming to be a kidnapped son of a Choctaw Indian. So he's going to change his whole status. Okay, he's going to pretend now that he's a Native American. He escaped on a riverboat to Mississippi and changed his name to Okatubby, from James Warner Church to Okatubby. Warner, or Okatubby, as he began calling himself, was a talented musician. One person who had watched him perform recalled that out of his fife, he can get more music and get it longer and stronger and more of it and put more twist in it and play lower and go up higher and give more octaves and crochets. What's a crochet? Catches and skyrockets, change the keys and jingle them with better grace, imitate more partridges and young chickens, and come the high note shriller and low note softer, and take off his hat more gracefully while he's doing it, and look at the people while it is going on. He played his fife better than any man living. By the 1840s, Warner had married Lya Seal, an American Indian of Delaware and Mohawk parentage. He's fully Indian now. He married an Indian. She helped the illiterate Warner write a book called A Thrilling Sketch and Life of a Distinguished Chief, Okatubby. Now Okatubby's a chief. Very interesting. Warner's sketch differs from other slave narratives. He makes no pretense of having loved his mother, and he hated his half-siblings. As a free person, Warner traveled widely and continued to transform himself. In 1849, he claimed to possess the remarkable power of ventriloquism, to have lived in France, to have spoken 14 languages, and to play over 50 musical instruments. At about the same time, he moved to Missouri, bought a $2 license, and began to practice medicine. Church, with a $2 license, you could practice medicine in the middle of the 19th century. But in 1850, the year that Congress passed a new fugitive slave law, his past caught up with him when a drunken gambler recognized him as a Mississippi slave. Looks like the gig is up. To avoid the risk of enslavement, Warner, like hundreds of other African Americans, that year fled to Canada, where he passed into obscurity. Thank you, church.